Howdy folks, welcome back to Duke Frazier Productions. In today's video it's going to be a little bit of discussion and we're going to be talking about the economics of shooting black powder. Stay tuned. Alright, so as I said, the topic today is the economics of black powder. If you're new to the shooting sport, you're going to find that with shooting black powder there's a bit of an upfront cost. So when you buy your black powder gun, of course you got to buy powder, you got to buy caps, wads or grease, whichever you prefer to use, and you've also got to buy your lead balls. Now when you do that, I've run a little calculation up here, and this calculation is just with the wads because I don't usually use a lube when I load. I usually use a felt wad. So if you purchase all the materials from the get-go, for a 36 Navy, I've got it calculated up. It costs you about 37 cents a round to shoot. Of course, with the 1860 Army or 58 Remington, with a 30 grain powder charge, that runs you about 42 cents a round. The most expensive is the Walker. If you shoot maximum loads, which is 60 grains, it runs you about 51 cents a round for all materials purchased. Now, of course, you don't want to be shooting that through the Walker for a long period of time because you're going to wear the gun out. But I just calculated that up to kind of give you an idea. And I will throw a screenshot of all this, by the way, up on the video here at some point. So one thing that shooters can find to reduce their costs of shooting with black powder is to make their own balls. So I calculated up what that would cost. I figured with the price of the lead and how many rounds to the pound, and that gives you a rough estimate of what it costs to cast round balls. Now, I didn't figure in electricity to do that. That's getting a little bit ridiculous in my mind. But what I found is when you make your own homemade round balls, you save about 10 cents a round. And that adds up pretty quick. If you fire 5 rounds, well, that's 50 cents. If you go out and shoot 20 rounds in a day, there's 52 bucks. And with the 44 Army, the savings are the same there. It's 32 cents a round. With your Walker and Dragoon with a 40 grain load, it's 35 cents a round. So it does get a little bit cheaper. Now, if you choose to cut out felt wads or grease, just shoot powder and ball, you do save considerably there. I don't like doing that because I find that it gums up the guns really fast. Today we just filmed the video with the Patterson revolver. And on the last little shooting sequence when I was doing the close-ups, I forgot to grease the chambers on that. And by the time I got to the 5th round, that gun was gumming up pretty bad. So lubrication does help. So I've also done a calculation to where if you make your own homemade round balls and your own wads, well, that results in about 18 cents a round saved across the board. So with the 36 Navy, it costs you a total of 19 cents to shoot it. With the 44 Army load, it costs you 24 cents a round. The Walker Dragoons, it'd be 27. So when you go that route of making your own ball and your own wads, you do save quite a bit of money. Like I said, when you're out there shooting a lot of rounds, this stuff adds up pretty quick. So your two biggest costs if you make your own materials is powder and caps. And powder on the Navy for a 20 grain charge, it costs you just 6 cents a round, and for the cap, that's 8 cents a round, and the cap is even across the board. When you get up to the 44 Army, it's 9 cents a round. You get up to the Walker and Dragoon with a 40 grain load, it's 12 cents a round. That's for powder, of course. Now, if you want to really get into it, you can try making your own powder. I've attempted to do that. I haven't been successful yet. And don't ask me for a video on it. I will not post a video of making gunpowder. It's something that I just don't want out there. But if you was to make your own powder, of course that cost is going to be reduced. Many years ago I seen that you could get little cap makers where you take those roll caps that you get for cap guns for kids, and you could make your own caps out of aluminum cans. I don't think they make those little kits anymore to make those. But if you could find them, that's going to really reduce your cost, because those little rolls of caps, you get 500 caps for a couple bucks, and you can pretty well find aluminum cans anywhere. So that would reduce it as well. But just making your own homemade round balls and your own wads, that is going to reduce your cost quite a bit. For me, it's even cheaper than that to shoot. It takes the let's see, for the 36 Navy, it takes 3 cents off of that 19 with the homemade because my lead was free. So I'm shooting for 16 cents around in the 36, and in the 44, I'm shooting for 19 cents around. So it's just something to think about when you get into it. Now, of course, you're going to have a bigger upfront cost in order to save. When you buy your lead, you're going to have to buy it in bulk. I found it on Amazon for 25 pounds at a time for about $60, I want to say, somewhere right in close in there. You're going to be paying, as of this video, about $2.57 a pound for lead. And so with a 44, that's right about 100 rounds to the pound. So for $2.57, you get 100 rounds. Now, when you buy ammunition from Cabela's or Bass Pro or wherever you get your round balls from, you're paying $12, $13, $14 for 100 rounds. So that's quite a bit of savings for your part. But then again, you've got a bigger upfront cost. You have to buy your melting pot, you have to buy your molds, your ladle, and that can get expensive from the start. And making your own wads, you've got to buy the beeswax, you got to buy the lamb's tallow, or whatever it is you want to use to put in for your lubrication, and then you got to buy the felt. Now, the felt that I've been using, I get from Durofelt. If you go on their website, you want to look for the heavier felt, and they have it marked out. It says 4 wads on the listing, and they've got various different sizes. Now, I got the I guess you could say medium size, is double of the smaller standard size, and I paid right around $40 for it. But that $40, I can get about 1,500 wads for the 44 caliber guns, and I can get about 2,500 rounds or so for the 36 caliber rounds. Now, those numbers aren't exact. They have them listed on their site. I just don't remember them off the top of my head. But that kind of gives you an idea of how many wads you can make with that much felt. And that's going to last you a long time, So you pay $40, say, right now, and if you don't shoot that often, well, that might last you for 4 or 5 years. If you shoot like I do, that probably lasts you about 2. So is it worth it? I definitely say it is, yeah. Buy the materials up front, pay the bigger cost, but in the long run, it's going to save you quite a bit. Now, for your powder, there's a lot of places you can get it. Track of the Wolf has it, Buffalo Arms, I believe Dixie Gun Works has it. But a lot of those places require you buy 25 pounds at a time, just because of the shipping costs. And, that is pretty expensive to buy that much powder. Plus, if you're like me, I don't like having that much powder just lying around. House catches fire, 25 pounds of powder is going to make it an exceptional boom. But there's other places out there like Graff & Sons. They sell black powder by the pound. So if you buy 1 pound, you can buy 1 pound, you can buy 5 pounds, you can buy 10 pounds. The only thing is a hazmat fee. The hazmat fee is the same for 1 pound as it is for 5 pounds. So to really be economical, when you're buying your black powder, you do have to buy it in bulk if you order it online. So what I'm planning on doing here in the next few months is I'm going to buy 10 pounds of powder, which when you figure in the hazmat fee, it'll come out to just about $21 a can. And that's what I figured my estimates on, for the cost of shooting powder in this little calculation thing here. Now, Graff & Sons does have their own house blend. It's much cheaper than GoX by several dollars. That's a cheaper route to go. I've never tried the powder, so I can't really say if it's any good or not. I've only ever used GoX, and GoX works good for me. They have Swiss as well. I don't like Swiss. I've loaded it in rifles, and I've lost a lot of accuracy in it. I've tried it in my muzzle loader, and the accuracy wasn't that great. And I tried some in the Walker about a year ago, and that wasn't very great results either. So GoX, that's the powder I go with. It's one of the best if you ask me. But there are a lot of options out there you can look into. Now, if you want to go with the Pirate X route, well, I've shot Pirate X before. Very similar to black powder to GoX, but you have to deal with the fouling. Now, one thing that I didn't figure into this video was the cost of cleaning. If you're going to shoot black powder guns, I mean, you're going to have to clean them pretty regular. I'm shoot Go X because it's less corrosive than Pirate X, and I can get away with not cleaning it for a couple days. I've let one go for about a month before, just out of me forgetting to clean the gun, and it did develop a little bit of rust, but there was no pitting. Now, if you shoot Pirate X, of course, that's more corrosive, as I've said. When I first got started into black powder, that's what I shot all the time, and I thought, well, I can get away with not cleaning it for a week. And after I shot that gun the first time, I took it home and I didn't clean it. It had pits in the metal very shortly after that when I did clean it. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. But you're going to have to constantly clean the guns. Now, what I use to clean mine is a mixture of ballistol and water. I use 10 parts water to 1 part ballistol, and that really eats up the black powder fouling pretty good. I mean, you just squirt it on there, let it set a couple minutes, and you can pretty well just wipe it all out. Now, there's other folks out there that just use hot soapy water, a little water, a little laundry detergent, or dish soap, or whatever they want to use, and clean it. That's going to reduce your cost, of course. But you're still going to have to oil it. Now, for regular oiling, I use rim oil. The reason I use rim oil is it's not water soluble like ballistol is. I had a flintlock many years ago that I cleaned with ballistol, and then I just used straight ballistol to oil it, and it still rusted all to hell. The area I was at was very humid. And then I switched over to rim oil, and those problems went away very quickly. But those costs are going to get pretty expensive. That's probably your most expensive cost, is cleaning your guns. The ballistol, when you're mixing with water, will go a long way, but cleaning patches tend to get expensive. Now, I've tried cleaning them before. When I was shooting the Sharps rifle last year, every time I cleaned it, I saved the patches. I put them in a bag, ran them through the washing machine. They didn't last. They pretty well just fell apart. Now, you can go on Track of the Wolf, and they have some fairly heavy cleaning patches, and I really like them. They seem to do a very good job. I think it's $20 for 1,000 cleaning patches, and that'll last you a while. Now, what I've been doing here lately, just because I've been trying to be cheap and get them at Walmart, is I've just been buying the little patches you can get at Walmart that are for up to a 50 caliber muzzle loader, and they're not very thick. I mean, it's like the worn out old t-shirt is what the material is. So when I've been cleaning with that, I've actually been having to use 2 of the patches, because when you put them on the jag, I mean, 1 patch just goes right on through and doesn't really clean. 2 patches is what has to be used to get it to fit to clean. But that is definitely a cost you'll have to think about as well, is the cleaning and maintenance on your guns. Well, folks, that's going to take care of it today for our little discussion video on the economics of black powder. If you've liked what you've seen on the channel thus far, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook as well at www.facebook.com/Duke Frazier Productions. Also, we have a new Patreon page. Be sure to check that out at patreon.com/Duke Frazier Productions. And as always, stay tuned and keep your powder dry.